Hello, comic book fans, pop culture enthusiasts, and everyone. Welcome back to Time Travel Comics. And today we're going to take a break from 2022 and travel back in time. We're going to explore great artwork, beautiful covers, and plenty of #1 issues from the Bronze Age, particularly around 1977 and 1978. Just some great artists that were around that period, and I'd like to take you on a trip to show you. So without further ado, I have my time tokens here, some pennies and coins from 1977 and 78, and of course, my trusty time machine as well. Let's get out of here. Okay, everyone, let's see. Where did our time machine take us? Oh, 1966. I think I overshot it. Sometimes I do that. Let's see what books are around here in 1966. Oh, here we go. Flash Gordon from King Syndicate. Oh, nice. This is a Gil Kane cover. He's always known for drawing those lizards and dragons. Flash Gordon. How about that? Well, let's get to where we're going. We want to get to 1978 and 1977. So let me try another crank at this and see if we could get there. Got to give this thing a little shake sometimes. Much better. We're in 1978. How about that? Particularly in June of 1978, marks an important milestone in comic book history. It was called the DC Implosion. And what that was is a number of comic books published by DC were canceled, 17 titles and almost 40% of their inventory. Why did that happen? Why did DC cut those comic books? Well, in North America in 1977 and 1978, there were big blizzards, and a lot of customers couldn't get to buy or distribute comic books. Also, the rising cost of paper made it difficult to make a profit, so DC had to decide what comic books they were going to cut. And at that time, those numbers dropped. We saw Marvel picking up speed and creating a number of new titles that kind of characterized the Bronze Age. Al Milgrom, who used to be a writer and editor for DC Comics, was laid off, but his talent was picked up by Marvel. So we're going to take a look at some greatness from Al Milgrom, a number of artists too, and it's going to be great. Beautiful artwork, bold. It's going to be the age of robots. It's going to be the age of space travel. So hang on, everybody. Here we go. I'm really excited to show you some great books from the Bronze Age, a lot of #1 issues here from 1977 and 1978. And here we are with Marvel's Micronauts. They're based off of a toy line of miniature characters. And these are the Microns right on the top in the front page. And you could see the laser action at the top from inner space, and we have the introduction of the microverse. So much like micro machines and the small cars existing, these were miniature heroes that took place on Earth fighting action with a big grand scale around them. So the Micronauts exist, and Al Milgrom just came from DC Comics, as I mentioned before, joining Marvel to create this beauty. So it's based off of a licensed toy. And at the time, Al Milgrom actually was an assistant to inker Murphy Anderson, a great Silver Age DC artist. And he also took some artistic license to create some Bronze Age wonder here with Dave Cockrum. Bill Mantlo, a wonderful, terrific editor and story writer for a number of Bronze Age books, also had a hand in creating Micronauts. So just wanted to show you this great book right before the 80s, and you can just marvel at the cover. Al Milgrom, Dave Cockrum with a Bill Mantlo story. I'll put this book aside for another licensed toy run from the same time, and that's Rom's Space Knight. Covers by Frank Miller. Also with Joe Rubinstein. They worked together to create this first issue here. And the story is also by Bill Mantlo. And it's about defeating evil sorcery and the science of the Dire Wraith. This alien robot surprises everybody on Earth with his analyzer and different power-ups gleaming before the crowd to try to bring justice. And Rom Space Knight is a toy by Parker Brothers. This introduces his features and his origin and characteristics. And there we have the advertisement for the toy by Parker Brothers. Rom has come, evil is on the run. And it also talks about his different energy analyzer, his translator, and the toy itself wasn't that popular. The comic book enjoyed a limited success, but again, Bronze Age goodies. And now coming at you with more robotic goodness, we have Machine Man. And we could just marvel at Jack Kirby greatness. I don't think any Marvel fan can say they get tired of looking at Jack Kirby art. And he's a cybernetic being, a robot that has the power to extend his arm, and he has a lot of variable strength. He has more of a human face appearance, actually. And the history goes he's X-51. That's his name, X-51, the last unit android superhero to here with the human race to help out. He also goes by another name, Aaron Stack, and he's powered by solar energy. And he has the adamantium shell body. And we all know from the X-Men, the adamantium claws of Wolverine, well, he is made out of adamantium as well. And see that Jack Kirby goodness, the shading, the darkness, the purples really jump off the page. You can see some of his roaming of the earth, fan mail too. Now, this isn't his first appearance. He actually has an earlier appearance in 2001, Space Odyssey, issue number 8. But there you can see some great artwork. In the Space Odyssey, I do have a copy of the first issue. This is number 1. This came out a little earlier in 1976, as we can see here. So this one came out a little bit later in 78. So this book paved the way for number 1 issue of Machine Man, the living robot. Just take a moment to enjoy that side by side. It's based off of a movie. So we're seeing the theme here in 78, a lot of licenses and movies, kind of keeping way to that. Arthur C. Clarke created a series, a novel in 1968, and it was also adapted into a movie. So that's where we see 2001 Space Odyssey. You can see Jack Kirby's goodness here. You can see the looks, the eyes, the expression that we know time and again as being, yup, that's a recognizable Jack Kirby. Some good advertisement here. So it's great. We see Jack from the Silver Age, the Golden Age, and even dabbling in the Bronze Age. So neat to see. Solid work. Really great. And still only 35 cents. Here we still have it. Another robot character, Shogun Warrior. We're greeted by beautiful orange colors, yellow outline, airplanes whizzing by, the invincible guardians of world freedom, Shogun Warrior, first issue, another number 1 issue, as we saw the last one a number 1, and the one before that a number 1 issue too. We have Shogun Warrior. And this character is called Raideen, one of 3 Shogun Warriors. And longtime Hulk artist, Herb Trimpe, put together this character with the help of Al Milgrom, another Al Milgrom appearance here. And Raideen also joins the 2 robot warriors, Kambatra and Dangard Ace, and they're introduced at the very end of the book. So they travel, they're very sophisticated space robots, also of the inspired by the Japanese Shogun Warrior. Their job is to stop evil and bring about the peace, including if the enemy is lurking in the corner. So just wanted to show you this wonderful issue. It's a fun run, truly 70s, 80s greatness, very good, very bright, and very clean Shogun Warriors. And let's get us into some more space action as we take a break from robots to join Battlestar Galactica, another licensed production, a comic book issue number 1 from March of 1979. And here we have Dave Cockrum again and Bob McLeod cover. And we see here the fleet of Galactica. These are civilians working together, making a fleet to battle the robot Cylons. This was a TV series enjoyed on ABC, and it was a limited run, but it inspired a lot of space travel genres, and we also have contending with it Star Wars at the time too. So you could see just the darkness, the skies, the inking done just to create that simulation of being in space. And that was great. The explosions, the whizzing by of rocket ships, the pondering of the crew, the enemy looking in defeat, angered, and just wanted to show you this greatness here with Battlestar Galactica, issue number 1. Just kind of enjoy that, taking a look at the purples, the grays, the foreground, the background, the whizzing. Honorable mention, this is not a number 1 issue, but it's from Marvel Premiere, Seeker 3000. Again, you could see the purple just blasting away, kind of right in there, the glows. And this is another Dave Cockrum book. So he worked on both of these. And it was this particular one was inked by Joe Sinnott, always a great inker, worked alongside Jack Kirby. And what I really enjoy about this book, this came out in 1978 in April, was the artwork by Tom Sutton. Tom Sutton always had these mural-like pages with a big spread of the artwork coming forth. And you can see here just how all the artwork is in little captions and angling the boxes differently, just so it can even add to the effect. It's one of the things I like about Tom Sutton's work. He creates this kind of grid, kind of electronic look, which I want to show you. Even here, look at all the depth and space. See another fine example of Tom Sutton's artwork with the layering upon layering of the comic panels. And just a beauty here. So I just wanted to show you Battlestar Galactica, an honorable mention, even though it's not a number 1 issue, for Seeker 3000. Almost resembles the Enterprise with the shape of the disc and the saucer section. And truly great time in the Bronze Age when space was a big theme. A little bit random, I wanted to show you a DC book, in all fairness, as we've been looking at Marvel Time Warp, and this happens to be one of the issues that was eventually canceled just shortly after the DC Implosion. And it's a group of stories that were put together that would have appeared in Mystery in Space, that would have appeared in some of the other titles, but they put them together in an 8-story thriller. But if you ever have a chance to read through it, these are truly great, because there's also Steve Ditko artwork, Dick Giordano, some of the Charlton greats that moved to DC. And this came out at the same time as the book we just saw. So you can see the competition at the time on the newsstand. This would have appeared and this would have appeared in 1978. This is actually from November 1979, but real close. And you could see some Ditko artwork here. Also flipping the pages, Tom Sutton. We just visited Tom Sutton's artwork, and you could just see like pouring out the layers and even taking creative license to shorten the panels. And just truly great to see his work. Another Steve Ditko right here. But this book, if you ever get to pick it up, has a lot of great artists represented in here, including Tom Sutton, who is right over there. Well, because we were talking about Battlestar Galactica and also some of Marvel's science fiction work, we can't, and also DC, we can't go without showing the one and only Star Wars. This is a Whitman variant, but it's not an original. It's a reprint of the first issue that came out, and another licensed science space fantasy title, Star Wars, with Luke Skywalker. Very successful franchise. And there we have it, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, R2D2. Everything is here. And just a lot of, just a fun time. Solid artwork, great inking, great artist here. And this cover artwork was created by Howard Chaykin. And we see some variants have a different color here in the background. I'm just being careful to turn the pages. You can see some of the artists there. We have everything there. Roy Thomas taking the helm. He never disappoints. And we can see that this is from 1977. So it's just a lot of fun to be in space, isn't it? As we let the space shuttles and rockets whiz by with what we just saw, we're going to look at another title, Logan's Run, issue number 1. And this was great. I picked it up with the captain about a year ago when we went to a small mini-con. And this came out to be in January of 1977. And George Perez, who also had a hand with Spider-Man, worked on this sci-fi title. And of course, Al Milgrom. You can see the name again and again right there. So the Bronze Age keeps showing his name. That's pretty exciting to see. And this is based off of another thriller, another movie title in a limited run. But you can just see a lot of the action, kind of in an apocalyptic setting. Lasers, robots, space. That is the common theme of the late 70s, early 80s. And just wanted to show you this number 1 book as we're talking about the Bronze Age. And even putting it toward another one, we have here Omega, the Unknown. And this came in March of 1976. We're greeted by Omega, who happens to be a superhero of a humanoid being, but he's bioengineered from the future to take out these androids that are right there. And on his hand is emblazoned an Omega, as you can see there, where he can repel and shoot the enemy, a lot like Iron Man in a way. And Jim Mooney did a lot of the artwork here. And this is an Ed Hannigan and Joe Sinnott cover. And just a lot of action. It later is revealed that this was our main hero as a younger self, so kind of going back in time, and the assassin tried to get rid of him before he can, but as we could see, that doesn't happen. The unknown refers to an unknown race, and Omega is the hero here, our superhero humanoid being. So just like we saw before, Machine Man was a kind of like a nanotechnology, biomechanically created character, so is Omega. So I enjoyed a limited run. It only had 10 issues, but nonetheless, it is a number 1 Bronze Age goodie. One that's not a robot is the Human Fly. Kind of a funny costume, in my opinion. It's one that didn't really gain traction, although Peter Parker and Spider-Man does make an appearance in this book. The Human Fly comes a little bit later, and this is issue number 1 from 1977. Some of the artwork there, more acrobatic, very different than the other characters we see in the 70s because he's not a robot. And of course, who's never a robot is a Submariner, reintroduced in issue number 1, Tales to Astonish. And this is from 1979, starts another run here. The second volume of his work, of Tales to Astonish, so it's not the very first one. And you could see here Stan Lee, Roy Thomas again, Frank Giacoia, just kind of bringing back the Submariner, who might be having a movie appearance coming out soon. I haven't checked, but you can see Namor returning in the Bronze Age. How about that? As we kind of wrap up our little parade here of comic books and robots and lasers and outer space, we can never leave the the late 70s, early 80s without Godzilla. And this is from 1978. Beautiful cover. Issue number 13, though, but still 35 cents as we're in the Bronze Age. And you could just see Godzilla taking the scene. Produced by Toho Productions, foreign film, later gained popularity, fighting from the oceans into the city. Godzilla defends against other monstrous creatures, and here we see him again. Thumbs up for Godzilla, thumbs up for the fight there. And again, it's just a beautiful time. You just imagine going to the comic book carousel, looking at this great artwork, those solid covers, these pristine books, the action just really jumps out there. It does not disappoint. And so our journey in 1978 comes to a close with The Spider-Woman. Wonderful Bronze Age book, issue number 1, 35 cents. And we're greeted by a Joe Sinnott cover. And you can see just the action jumping from the page. Carmine Infantino with the pencils inside the book. He was formerly with DC, now he's with Marvel. So we see this exodus from DC going into Marvel in the late 70s. And you could just marvel at this 1978 introduction of Spider-Woman. Of course, we have robotics and spaceships and different things like that. But here we have our fearless female hero, the Spider-Woman. And now our time machine has expired. We'll be headed to 2022 shortly. But it was a good time. It was a good run to see. And thank you for watching and tuning in to Time Travel Comics. It was a joy to travel back in time. May everyone be well and take care. Bye.